So, Amber, can you explain to me how the contract structure was for Justice League and options? Just explain to the jury, please.
It's structured like a 3-picture option. I signed on to do Justice League, where my character was introduced. The fee is, small relative to what it will become if and when you do the other options or movies in that under that umbrella. So it was the contract for Justice League, which could then become Justice League 2, or it could be Aquaman, or it could be some other movie within the DC universe. And the second picture ended up being Aquaman. And then the third picture, Aquaman 2. Each time the fee goes up, but...
Objection, Your Honor. This calls for speculation, lack of foundation.
Overruled, I'll
As far as the contract is concerned, that's what the contract says.
All right. And if we go to page 6, so what was your fee going to be for Aquaman? And what was it for Aquaman?
$1 million.
Okay. Then was there also box office bonuses, opportunities?
Yes, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, there are box office bonuses. If it makes a certain amount in the box office, you get a bonus. Okay. And it says picture number 2. At the time you entered into the contract with on Justice League, did they know what the picture would be? No, as I mentioned before, when you do the contract...
Objection calls for speculation.
All right, I'll sustain that objection.
Okay. So ultimately, what was picture number 2?
Aquaman.
All right. And then what was it for picture number 3?
Aquaman 2.
Okay. And what was the fee under the option agreement at that time?
$2 million.
Okay. Now, did you have contracts with L'Oreal?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you just describe for the jury what was involved with L'Oreal? You talked about being involved in campaigns and then not. Just explain that to them if you can.
As a spokesperson, I'm just involved with the brand as a representative, and a certain amount of commitment you have to do throughout the year on social media and on red carpets promoting various products or causes they're advancing. Generally, it's just like a brand ambassadorship. Okay. And did you, well, let's pull up 1262. And this is dated as of April 25, 2018, correct? That's correct. Was that your first contract with L'Oreal? I believe so, yes. Okay. And was that for a term, a specific term? Yes, it was. Okay. Was it for 2 years? Yes, it says 2-year contract, and that sounds right. All right. And then I'm going to ask you to turn to 1264. And that's April 20, 2020. And what, if anything, did L'Oreal do with regard to extending your contract then? They extended it. They chose to extend it with the option to kind of... All right. And did they extend it just an additional 3 months? If you look at paragraph 1. Let's see. Yes, they did. Okay. And what, if any, work did you do for L'Oreal after these 3 statements were made? I have only been able to participate in, I believe, 1 live event that they also couldn't promote or use the material from because of...
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Now let's go to 1265. And this is, as of November 15, 2021, this is another extension with L'Oreal, correct? Yes, it is. And if you look at the second option term under paragraph 1, it's an extension of 20 months. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And what, if any, work have you been able to do for L'Oreal since this contract?
As I stated, I believe I've only done one in-person event with them, and they couldn't use the material.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the stand for a minute. Let's pull up 1263. And this is dated July 3, 2019. And I believe you indicated that you had already filmed it by the time these statements were made in April and June of 2020. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what, if any, marketing opportunities were you participating in prior to those articles?
We had appearances, talk show, press, the normal kind of group cast press junket, promotional material, photo shoot, and I had various publicity engagements lined up, like a magazine cover, that sort of thing, to promote the film. To promote the series.
And what, if anything, were you able to do with marketing opportunities after the 3 articles were published?
None.
What, if any, covers were you on after that for the stand?
They pulled the offer for that, so none.
Okay. And while we're on this agreement, if you look at the second page, how much were you paid for the stand? It's at 6C. $200,000.
$200,000 an episode.
Okay. Now let's pull up Defendant's Exhibit 1266. Have you been able to get any work since that time?
I have done one small independent film.
Okay, and tell the jury what that is.
I shot a film in Guatemala. It's a small independent, meaning it doesn't have distribution or, it doesn't have distribution or anything. It's a lower budget film that I had been attached to for many years, called Into the Fire.
Okay. And 1266 has, as of January 13, 2022. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. When did you actually film for this in Guatemala?
March. I believe it was March of this year.
Okay. And do you recall what your compensation was for that?
I don't off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
If you can look at ALH 17628, it's paragraph 6A.
Oh, 65,000.
Okay. And have you participated in Aquaman 2?
I have.
And tell us about that.
I had to I fought really hard to stay in the movie. They didn't want to include me in the film.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Were you ultimately able to get to film in Aquaman 2?
A very pared down version of that role, yes.
Okay. What, if anything, changed in the script?
They took away a lot of...
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I think she can
Lack of foundation.
Overruled as the script.
Go ahead.
I was given a script and then given new versions of the script that had taken away scenes that had action in it, that depicted my character and another character, without giving any spoilers away. They're two characters fighting with one another, and they basically took a bunch out of my role. They just removed a bunch out.
And what, if any, leverage did you have to negotiate a higher salary beyond the $2 million?
Objection, speculation.
I'll sustain the objection.
What, if any, effort did you make to negotiate a higher salary for your participation?
I couldn't renegotiate my contract.
And why not?
Objection, this calls for hearsay and speculation.
Do you know why?
It's still the same objections, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right. Amber, I'm going to ask you to describe to this jury the emotional impact on you of these three statements that we have talked about, these three counterclaim statements. Please describe how this has impacted you.
These statements are used over and over and over and over again online to reverberate, re-echo, and re-energize.
Objection, Your Honor, this is not responsive, lack of foundation,
It's
and hearsay.
responsive, yeah. She gets to give her consent for it.
Well, the question was, your emotional impact of these statements.
Okay.
The impact it has on me is every time I look at it, which is every day. I am set back. I have to relive it. I have to have the worst, most painful things I've ever gone through, painful memories I've ever had, the things I've narrowly survived at times, embarrassing, intimate details that I never wanted to be known, never wanted to be public ever, and to have them used every single day to call me a liar. I have to relive this every single day that I have to address those claims. Over and over again, the most intimate, embarrassing, deeply humiliating, and personal things that I've survived are used against me every day, over and over again. It's torture. I'm in so much pain emotionally. I just wanted him to leave me alone. I wanted to move on with my life. And he won't let me. By making statements like this, he won't let me. I have to be here today. I have to be reliving it every single time. He, with these statements, with these leaks, these comments, once again, makes me have to speak to the most horrifying things I have lived through. It's torture. It's torturous. I want you to have to do that. I want to move on with my life. I have a baby. I want to move on. I want to move on. I want Johnny to move on too. I want him to leave me alone.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's probably a good time to go ahead and take our afternoon recess based on that. So go ahead and do not discuss the case, and don't do any outside research, okay? We'll see you in 15 minutes, okay? Thank you. Please, court is still in session. I need it to be quiet in the gallery. Thank you.
Quiet, please, quiet.